Welcome to Thriving Your Love, a podcast where we will guide and help you improve your most precious relationships in life. This podcast is produced and hosted by certified emotionally focused therapist Claudio Vargas Silva, licensed marriage and family therapist, and Trisha Kim Walsh, also licensed marriage and family therapist. Welcome back, viewers and listeners, to Thriving Your Love with Trisha and Claudio. We have yet another podcast episode that we're excited for you all to listen to. And the topic is connection and power in relationships, Claudio. And I felt like when we started this discussion on this topic, it really hit me because I don't know for our
Hmm.
viewers, listeners, and I know for you, Claudio, we were just talking about this, is I've had a lot of people in my life that have made me feel very small and insignificant. And I work with a lot of clients that talk about this topic of connection and power in relationships, where we may have a very domineering relationship personality in our lives that puts us down to make them feel stronger and superior. Whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, whether it's a coworker, sometimes it's a manager, sometimes it's your partner. I've definitely had many relationships I've worked with as a couples therapist to see when one partner really used and weaponized in the relationship this way of being superior in the relationship to feel confident and to take control of the relationship at the expense of the person they love. And that has its own dynamics that can be detrimental to the confidence, not only of the person that's doing it, because they're doing it out of insecurities, but also the person who's receiving it of, I care about you, and I don't know what to do about this vicious dynamic and this cycle where you have to put me down to feel power in this relationship. So let's dive in, Claudio. I love this topic. I'm curious what your thoughts are and what made you choose this topic.
Yeah, so it's a continuation of what we have been talking about, right? And every time that we talk again, we focus on a different aspect.
Yeah.
And when I was thinking about the title, like connection or power in relationships, when we think about love, especially for those who are knowledgeable about attachment theory, we know that love has to do with connection, right? So we feel close to someone, that connection makes us feel secure, makes us feel more confident. We believe in ourselves better. We are less afraid of facing the world. But for someone who has this need to control, to feel powerful, for this person, they are not thinking about connection. They don't think that love has to do with connection because in their childhood, they thought that they would be loved if they were good, if they deserved. So, in some way, they thought that maybe they had to prove themselves and they needed to have something special. So, they became really obsessed and also very afraid of not being good enough. And in that concern about not being good enough and not deserving love, they wanted to prove that they are good and they are superior. So that's the problem because in a relationship, they are trying to convince the other person that they are better. And that person who loves them, that person is less. That person has flaws, is inferior because they think that the person will only love them if the person looks up to them. So it's like, for example, if I am a person with that kind of insecurity and I am in a relationship with you, I want to make you feel less. I want to make you doubt yourself. So I think that you will want to be with me because you will look up to me. You're going to think that I am so much better than you, so superior that you have to be with me. But the cost for you is so hard because you are gonna like look down on yourself and feel inferior to me, feel shame, embarrassment because I'm all the time putting you down, So you're constantly feeling inadequate and ashamed and embarrassed, disrespected by me. And then I can put you in a cycle that you are going to try to prove yourself to me. It's very interesting because it's the same cycle that maybe this person, this controlling and abusive person, was in their relationship with a parent, that maybe the parent or caretaker was putting them down, was trying to make them feel less, and then they were trying to prove that they were good. So now I am doing with my partner what was done to me, and now my partner could take the bait because it is so hard. Like, usually you could be in a relationship with me also because you might have had a parent like that, and now you are trying to get me to accept you, to appreciate you, to like you, but you're never gonna get it from me because I'm not gonna ever accept that you are good. My interest is always in make you believe that you are less than me because that's how I can feel good in our relationship. So you see, like, it is very, very sad because this person loses track of connection. They don't see how good is to feel connected to someone. What they are really looking for is to feel like they are better, they are superior, Tisha.
Yeah. And I see that I recognize that in a lot of relationships, the word abuse comes out freely, like you're emotionally abusing me. But I think this is a really good example of an abusive relationship where it starts off as I'm trying to fix you, I'm trying to improve you, and it can be debilitating because it really starts to make you feel that nothing you're ever going to do is ever going to size up to the expectations they need and ride that this is the formula in a sense that this partner, this individual needs to cause this person to feel that level of insecurity, so that they call the shots. They're really in the driver's seat. They are determined to make that individual feel no matter what they do, it's never going to be good enough. And the reality is they don't feel like, to your point, Claudio's, often this is a dynamic they experienced in childhood with their own family member, their caretaker and parent that made them feel no matter what they couldn't get it right. And so they've passed that out on to a relationship. And I think that what you highlighted a little bit ago is the fixing, is that there is the fault in everything you do and they will berate you. They will, there will be abusive tendency to be always finding the fault. That even the harder you, in order to survive the relationship by default, you have to agree. You have to say, is you're right, I'm wrong. And I've seen a lot
Mm-hmm.
of these relationships. I don't know about you, Claudio, but I am seeing a theme, more of this in my
Mm-hmm.
couples work right now. And it's been really heartbreaking. It's really painful to
Mm-hmm.
see that abusive nature because often clients will say, Trish, help me be better for this individual because I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
lose them if I'm not what they need because they know
Mm-hmm.
what they need. I don't know what I need. I've never had to make these many changes and sacrifices. And then it gets even more
Mm-hmm.
complicated if a partner, they have children. That gets complicated because you're not just making a decision as a partner, but you're also saying is I'm trying to stay for the benefit of my family, which has its own complications
Mm-hmm.
is to say is for for the children or child that's watching to keep the peace. These are where partners I see kind of withdraw. They become the
Mm-hmm.
withdrawer in the relationship as they shut down and go, okay, all I need
Mm-hmm.
to do is be better and I will fix this, and then we will
Mm-hmm.
find a way to be in this relationship.
Yeah, and we can see this in many relationships, as you said. Some relationships get to an extreme, right? That can be very dangerous. I think that all of us human beings, we want to be accepted, you want to be loved. We are afraid, we are insecure of not being loved. But there are some extremes that are really dangerous. And something that is kind of, it seems like it doesn't make sense that I'm gonna point out is like, for example, the person who is being like controlling, trying to dominate and trying to put the other down and make the other person admire and think that they need me. They need me because I'm so good. I don't need you because you're so inferior. So I am with you out of pity. And you shouldn't separate from me because no one will accept you. You're no good. So people are not going to accept you. So you should stay with me. But the thing
Right.
is that if that person decides to go away, then the controlling person will be crazy because what they are saying to the other is actually what they feel about themselves. But when you are with a person like that, you couldn't ever imagine that actually it's not true at all. You know, this person doesn't feel confident. This person is only trying to tell you what he or she is thinking. So it is sad because we, in some way, we are believing that it might be true, such as when we are children, we our parents criticize you and we think that they are awesome and we never think that they have insecurities and problems. The same thing about a partner like this. They are the ones who cannot accept a separation. They are so afraid and insecure. If you try to separate from them, they are going to get angry. They're going to do everything. They're going to make promises. They might say that they are going to go to therapy. They might be very good to you, but they are also, if that doesn't work, they go to another extreme of being very angry and threatening you. Even though they are trying to make you feel like you need them, no one will love you. They are the ones who actually think that about themselves, and they are not gonna allow you to go away, Trisha. They are very dependent on you, but they make it look like it's not true, that you are the one who needs them.
Right. There is a viciousness in this, and a lot of my experience I've observed is there is a form of gaslighting. There is this manipulative quality of I don't need you, but I really need you. But I'm not going to let you know that I need you because and there's almost even a parasitic nature to that is you giving me the love that I need feeds my confidence, but I need you to be praising me more at the expense of putting you down. And there also is a harm, again, I'm emphasizing if these two partners are parents. And I will say, in transparency and a bit of vulnerability here, Claudio, there was a nature sometimes that my dad would do this with my mom. I would observe this
Mhm.
dynamic where because of his vulnerabilities of being an immigrant in a country that he felt put down on, I think there's a complexity here that we could really get curious about why. Why do people do this in addition for the fact that they experienced this in childhood? But what about a society doing this to an individual? And needing the power, like coming back home and feeling a bit debilitated, and then trying to take a bit more of my dad's manhood in this sense is to say, I've been rejected or put down or not good enough, made fun of, experienced racism, so that coming home, there's the I need my partner to praise me and to
Mhm.
fill me up with more confidence because I know I deserve better, but I'm not getting better, especially if someone is coming into another country feeling a lot of that rejection that they need and depend on their partner to give them
Mhm.
what they are not receiving at work, not receiving in their community environments for many different reasons. So I observed
Mhm.
a bit of that in my own childhood, Claudio. So as we're talking about this,
Mhm.
there is a tender spot that goes, wow, this feels familiar as a child witnessing these dynamics.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we see this very close. We see in our clients. And that's what I say that everyone has a little bit of that. So I'm always kind of pay attention to myself in relationships and trying to show respect and trying to make the other person feel accepted and in being less critical. But I also remember, like, for example, my adoptive mother, and when she was at the end of her life, she told me something she hadn't told anyone. She had said that she was abused by a brother when she was young. And I remember that she was extremely like a bully. So she would make fun of my dad because my dad was old, and then she would make fun of my dad and my mom walking because my dad always would go ahead of my mom when they walking. So there was like my aunt. So my dad's sister was the mother of my adoptive mother's husband. So a little bit complicated, right? So let's say that my cousin, who is actually my adoptive father, he made a house in the back of his house, a small house for his mother to live, but my adoptive mother didn't like that. And when my aunt will come inside of home, she would make fun of her. And it was like very hard to see. So, what we see is that if you are in a relationship with someone who has those features, who is kind of controlling and has some narcissism, that person might engage in making fun of you. It seems like they feel good.
Hmm.
And there we see the lack of empathy that exists in these kind of problems that we call in psychology the cluster B problems, that they all have something in common, that is the lack of empathy.
Right.
Because if you think about this, like if I believe that every human is valuable, including me, right? What happens is that I will think that you deserve my respect. So I won't put you down, making fun of you, being sarcastic, because I know that this will cause you to feel bad, right? And especially if you also have some low self-esteem, it might cause a lot of shame, a lot of embarrassment for you if I make fun of you. So then we see that one of the things that these people who have this problem, they engage in making fun of others. When they do this, is a way of them proving I am better than you, because this thing that I am making fun of you, I don't have this problem that you have. But if I truly valued myself, I wouldn't ever do that to you, because I believe that if I am valuable, everyone is valuable too. So it is hard to understand that how someone who wants others to show respect to him or her would making fun of others and engage in a behavior that is humiliating towards the other. Especially because if you try to do that to the abuser, they are going to be extremely angry at you. They are not going to accept that. It seems like it doesn't make sense in some way, but that is something that they do.
Yeah, and what makes sense is control. And going back to the
Hmm.
power and the control, which happened in their own exposure as a child, in some dynamic where they learned love is control. And that can be really scary because love is not control. Love is equal.
Hmm.
And I think that's the difference, Claudia, when we look at empathy is that we don't have to explain is that you are as important as I am, as important as you are. You know, that is something that wasn't built into this family, and that's a trauma. So these are often individuals that really do need support to understand that empathy can be built. And I really feel that we as therapists have a lot of success in this. So this is my shameless plug for do therapy, bring your partner into therapy because it does make a difference and it can repair all that we just shared. I mean, it takes
Yeah.
time, but it can be done. So maybe a good place for us to pause here, Claudio, because this is such a great continuation of this theme that
Yeah.
affects our lives on a regular basis, you know, whether it's through our leadership or lack thereof, and also through our family and friends and our, you know, in this case for us, we see in the room
Yeah.
with our clients.
Everywhere. We see this everywhere. And if we start understanding more, we're going to be more aware of that, and especially in ourselves too. So Thank you everyone for attending to our podcast. And we are going to continue because what I prepared here, there is more.
Always. There's
Okay,
always more,
yeah.
and we love hearing from you. So don't be a stranger. If you have a topic that you're excited about, send it over to us. We love hearing from you. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll look forward to having you join us with Thriving Your Love with Trisha and Claudio. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. We hope you'll join us soon again for our next episode of Thriving Your Love.